follow the recording. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulina Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Allahumma inna nastahdika li arshadi amrina wa zidna ilman yanfa'una. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Hamdan yuwafi ni'mahu yukafi mazira. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي جلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك فلك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد إذا رضيت ولك الحمد بعد الرضا اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وصل وسلم على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين وصل وسلم على سيدنا محمد في كل وقت وحين وصل وسلم على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين وصل وسلم على سيدنا محمد حتى ترث الأرض من عليها وأنت خير الوارثين الحمد لله رب العالمين وتتعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه مرضاته وقرب ثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. So we resume our readings from the Book of Assistance. We are now on chapter 10. We read page 36. We're now going to transition to page 37. Of course, this chapter is on following the book in the Sunnah. And the Shaykh in this chapter, he's going to talk about innovation. We talked about it today in the khutbah, the concept of innovation. The concept of innovation. And we mentioned that primarily, I like to simplify things as Allah simplifies them in the Quran, the affair of this existence that we're in. What is this? What are we seeing? What do we view? When we see something, what we view, Allah breaks existence down into many different types. One of the categories of existence is you have darkness and you have light, right? It's bifarcal, right? So there's a split between darkness and light. Anything that you look at, anything that someone engages in, it's either going to be something that leads him to light or something that leads him to darkness, or leads him or her to light or to darkness, and so on and so forth. Innovation is also similar to this in religion, that you have good innovations in religion, things that people come up with that are inherently good, and also inherently from the good deen, the righteousness itself, from virtue itself. Then you have other practices that people innovate that are not from the religion, that have nothing to do with the religion. So the Shaykh is going to talk about this, and we want to keep in mind this bifurcation, that we have darkness and we have light. The modern day world, as we keep on mentioning, wants to take away this the concept of darkness and light. Basically, it wants to make everything sort of one color, meaning that nothing has any meaning. It's all just matter. It's all just colliding atoms. This is the modern worldview. Postmodern, quote unquote, worldview is that you just have a concatenation of atoms just colliding along the period of time, the space-time continuum, colliding atoms, no meaning, right? Even though we clearly see meaning. We see love in the world, and we also see hate. These are meanings, right? It's not simply just a collision of atoms or explosions, right? This is important. But the world that we live in, the atheistic worldview or the agnostic worldview or the worldview of Big Bang, right? This is what they called it, the big collision, the Big Bang, boom, right? A really ugly name, as a matter of fact, the Big Bang, right? So this is what they've named it, the big explosion, and then you have just other collisions and random explosions and so on and so forth going on the space-time continuum. This is the view, and that as Muslims we have to do our best to hedge against that view, to fight against it, both internally and externally. No doubt about it that we are infected by these things. We are infected by these things. And these kufriyat, or these disbeliefs, they have a tremendous impact upon the human soul. The view that there's no meaning to this life has a tremendous impact on the human soul. It's what gives rise to actually racism. To all the different falsehoods that appear in the world, it gives rise to this. When you forget that there's meaning in the world, and you forget that there's a teleos that means purpose, ultimate aim, and that God has set an ultimate aim for this world and given it meaning. It's not me or you who give meaning to the world. This is also important. Even though some people say that, we don't mean to be too philosophical here, but these are real ideas. And any idea that you hear me mention in the class, you are impacted by it in the world. So I wouldn't mention any idea if it was just ivory tower scholarship, or advanced Islamic belief. No, anything that I mention in the class, trust and believe the only reason I mention it is because you are impacted by it in your daily life, whether in movies, media, YouTube, news media, whatever it may be. I mention these things because we are impacted by these things on a day-to-day basis. All right, so some people have the idea that we give the world meaning, that the world had no meaning to begin with. We give meaning to the world, right? This is a view. They call it existentialism. It's falsehood. It's kufr. But this is effectively what many people believe in our day and age, that the world is what you make it, right? That there's no real reality. It's all about perception. Now, anyway, the Islamic worldview is that Allah, He creates the world and He gives it meaning. We mention this, of course, I mention these things because we are learning now some of the fundamental aspects to Islamic creed that allow us to see the world properly. That's effectively what's happening. So that's a sort of a secret, sort of not a secret anymore because I just told you, but the reality is we are sometimes, I know some of the things that I mentioned may seem philosophical, may seem weird, or why is he talking about that, right? We mention these things for wisdoms, really important. And the thing that's mentioned in the class, we mention it for wisdoms, that we see this world in the right way, and we see this world through the Islamic lens, through the prophetic lens. As it concerns the darkness and the light is, of course, the manhaj of the prophets. It's the methodology of the prophets. The darkness is the manhaj of Shaitan and those who come after him, his soldiers, such as Ad-Dajjal, and all the demons that live in the world today. The dark side of things, right? And this is real. And there are people who would like to see that dark side dominate the physical world. This is real. I'm not making this up. There are people who are dark and have gone deep into darkness, and they would like to see this darkness manifest in the physical world. I'm not making this up. We as believers, we would like to see the light manifest itself into this world. That we bring light into this world, love into this world, compassion into the world, these meanings into the world, right? This is important. And the human being, this is really the role of the human being, to really bring this light into the physical world, right? To bring this light, this love, this compassion to other human beings, one, right? To bring this love, this light, this compassion, this care to animals. So Muslims were the first animal rights activists, the first and foremost. Our Prophet was an animal rights activist. I mean, by modern day standards, of course, he was rahmatan lil alameen. He was the one who was sent as a mercy to every single realm of existence, right? So we believe in mercy for animals, love, compassion, care for animals, right? We believe in love, compassion, care for even plants, right? So this is our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is who he sent as, and that's who we are commanded to copy, right? It's so important that we've forgotten these critical aspects to our religion. We've forgotten these things. SubhanAllah. So our Prophet, he is the one who represents that complete sort of humanity, right? Bringing that light into the physical realm, bringing that love, that care, that sanctity and that serenity, that sacredness into this realm. This is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what the prophets effectively do. That they meet with the angels and they receive from the angels and they give it to us and show us how we practice, and they show us how we live sanctified lives, sacred lives, purified lives. And Allah loves those people who purify themselves. Allah loves those people who enlighten themselves, who educate themselves and stand as beacons of light for other people in this world. They stand against racism. They stand against sexism. They stand against atheism, all the different isms that we have, sexism, right? Misogynism, hatred of women, we stand against that too, right? All these different isms that we have in the world, all these diseases of the heart, we stand against that. And the only way we can truly stand against these things is by putting into practice our religion. And the Shaykh is going to talk about this today, but we wanted to frame it in the right way that we can apply these things to the modern day situation that we see in the world today.